Hello students, welcome to this lecture. So in this lecture we are going to see about the starting methods of the synchronous motor. Now we are going to see about the why the synchronous motor is not self-starting. Synchronous motor is not a self-starting motor because the problem of production of the torque when the three-phase supply is being supplied to the stator is the reason behind the synchronous motor is not a self-starting motor. So we will see how it is not producing the continuous unidirectional torque. Now this is the diagram of a synchronous motor where the stator is going to be supplied with a three-phase supply and the rotor is going to be supplied with the DC supply. Now the stator windings are being numbered as 1 1 dash, 2 2 dash and 3 3 dash, and we are assuming that the 1 1 dash, 2 2 dash and 3 3 dash are going to be displaced by 120 degrees spatially. Now when the three-phase supply is being given, the three-phase supply will be having the 120 degree displacement spatially, and by time variant also the three-phase supply will be having 120 degrees displacement. So the maximum EMF that is going to be applied across the 1 1 dash will be giving a particular pole faces of south and the north as shown in the figure. So if it is going to be the case, then the DC supply which has been given to the rotor will be attracting this particular poles, because the north pole will be attracting the south pole and this south pole will be attracting this north pole. After some time, the 120 degree displacement has been occurred. The maximum EMF will be shifted towards this particular 2 dash coil. So at this time the particular rotor have to be attracted towards this particular 2 dash, but due to the inertia of the synchronous motor's rotor, the displacement of this particular rotor cannot be occurred as fast as possible, that is the speed of the synchronous motor. Since the speed of the synchronous motor is going to be calculated by the formula n is equal to 120f divided by p, the frequency will be directly proportional to the speed. So the frequency of this supply will be giving the speed of the particular rotating magnetic field. So this speed cannot be attained by the mechanical heavily weighted mechanical rotor. So the another reason for this particular motor cannot attain the unidirectional torque is the placements of the MMF waves in the particular machine. So here we have given a particular depiction of the MMF waves that are MMF waves that are going to be in the machine for different time period. So we have taken from t is equal to 0 seconds to t is equal to 16 milliseconds. So since it is going to be a 50 hertz supply, the one cycle will be for 20 milliseconds. So for this particular machine, at the time t is equal to 0, the stator and the rotor MMF will be aligned to each other. So the speed of the machine will also be in this direction, that is the counterclockwise direction. So at the 4 millisecond, the stator MMF will be displaced 90 degrees. So at that time the particular rotating speed of the machine will also be in the counterclockwise direction. But whenever it comes to the t is equal to 8 milliseconds, the particular rotor MMF and the stator MMF will be opposite to each other. So due to this, the alignment of this particular particular mmf vector will be giving a torque of uh, torque of 0 towards the particular uh, rotor. So due to this, the particular speed of the machine will be getting reverted. So for t is equal to 0 to 8 millisecond, it will be flowing towards the, it will be moving towards the counterclockwise direction. But whenever we are going beyond 8 millisecond, then the particular mmf wave of the stator will be coming with the 90 degree, the plus 90 degree with the rotor mmf. So at that time the torque will be on the clockwise direction. So before it was a counterclockwise direction, but now it is going to be a clockwise direction. So due to this particular reason, the placement of the mmf waves in the space of the synchronous machine will be giving the non-unidirectional, that is the pulsating torque in the synchronous motor. So this is the main reason behind the synchronous motor is not a self-starting motor. So in order to start the synchronous motor, we will be using these four common methods. One is using a pony motor, that is using a small induction motor to start the synchronous motor, and using the damper windings, and using the slip ring induction motor, because the pony motor will be a cylindrical rotor one, but here we will be using the slip ring induction motor for some other applications, and using a small DC motor which is coupled with the synchronous motor. Pony motor is going to be a motor which is coupled with the synchronous motor. So whenever the pony motor is supplied with the supply, three-phase supply, and the motor is an induction motor, so it will be running running at the speed of lesser than the synchronous speed. So at that time, if you are applying the DC field to the rotor of the synchronous motor, the rotor will be picking, and it will be magnetically locked with the rotating magnetic field, so that it will be attaining the synchronous speed. But the actual schematic of the pony motor is going to be the three-phase supply, which is going to be supplied for the synchronous motor stator, and the synchronous motor stator will be connected in series with the pony motor stator. So we will be having, when the switch S1 is connected with the three-phase supply, then the voltage which is divided into 2, so that we will be having the voltage of the synchronous motor will be somewhat lesser, and the starting current is going to be lesser. So when the pony motor is being supplied with the lower voltage, that particular motor is going to be getting started, and whenever it reaches the synchronous small lesser than the synchronous speed, this S2 is going to be applied. So when the S2 is going to be switched on, this particular pony motor will be disconnected from this particular supply. So at that time, the synchronous motor stator will be applied with the full amount of voltage which is supplied from this three-phase supply, so that the rotating magnetic field getting stronger. So at that time, if you switch on this DC supply to this particular synchronous motor, then it will be getting attracted magnetically, and magnetically coupled synchronous motor will be rotating at the synchronous speed with synchronizing with the rotating magnetic field. So this is going to be a method which is used by the applications where we need the starting torque is going to be lesser. So for that only we can use this pony type starting off for the synchronous motor. So the next method will be a damper winding method. So damper winding is going to be applied only for the salient pole alternators. So the salient pole rotors, the poles will be drilled, and copper or aluminum rods are going to be inserted inside those holes, and they are short circuited up to the end rings. So whenever the three-phase supply is given to the stator, the rotor will, if the rotor is going to be a stationary one, then the stator magnetic field is going to be rotating at a synchronous speed. So the relative motion between the stator and the rotor fields are going to be inducing some currents inside the damper windings. So that particular currents will be getting some torque over this particular rotor, and the rotor will starting to rotate. So in order to getting this particular thing, which we have explained explained now, the rotor resistance, that is the damper winding resistance, should be somewhat higher, because whenever we need some higher starting torque, we need to have some less currents. So those less currents uh, will be realized when the copper bars are going to be in higher resistance. So the copper bars are going to be bronze or aluminum type of copper bars can be used, so that we will be getting the higher starting torque. But this is one side of usage of the damper windings. The another side of the usage of damper windings is going to quenching of the oscillations, which is done by the sudden change in the loads in the infinite bus bars. So whenever the load in the infinite bus bar is going to be changed suddenly, then the rotor of the synchronous machine is going to get oscillated due to the change in the load. So that particular oscillations will be inducing some currents inside the damper windings. So the induced currents will pull the rotor out of the synchronization. So that particular rotor currents will be inducing some negative torques, so that the rotor will be getting into the synchronization. So for this purpose, the rotor bars, that are the damper winding bars, should be at very minimum resistance. So because uh, whenever the oscillations occurs, the oscillations are going to be very small, so the currents will also be very small. So if you are applying a bar of high resistance, will not take care of these kind of situations. So in order to manage these two type of situations, that is, for higher starting torque we need higher resistance damper windings. For oscillation purposes, to quench the oscillation purposes, we need a very low resistance damper windings. So we have to compromise some of the resistances, so that the damper winding will be used for these two purposes. So the damper winding should be chosen such that it will be supplying these two requirements. So after addition of the damper windings in the synchronous motors rotors, the synchronous motor will be behaving as an induction motor at the starting. So this particular behavior of the synchronous motor uh, is uh, is uh, is noticed in the starting period of the synchronous motor. The damping resistance that is being used in the damper windings are going to be dominate the characteristics of the speed torque characteristics of the synchronous motor. Since the damper winding will be having the will be giving the similar characteristics as that of the induction motor, we will be taking the same characteristics of the synchronous induction motor for the synchronous motor starting torque speed characteristics. So now this particular curve will be giving three set of curves for which the resistance, the first curve will be giving the low resistance, and the second curve will be drawn for the somewhat high resistance, and the third is for the maximum resistance that can be inserted in the damper windings. So now, due to this, the particular low resistance damper winding, the particular starting torque of the machine will be somewhat lower, but the pull-in torque will be higher. So this particular pull-in torque can be defined as the torque in which the motor may move the load without the acceleration. So without giving the acceleration, how much amount of load that can be driven by the motor will be given by this particular pull-in torque. So this particular character, that is the amount of pulling torque, will be giving the pulling power of the machine. So this kind of configuration, that is the low damper winding resistance with low starting torque and the higher pulling torque, will be used in the compressor type of applications. And if you see the curve 2 and 3, the resistance is somewhat higher than that of the first curve. So these two curves will be used for the somewhat higher starting torque machines, such as the pressing machines and the punching machines. So these two kind of applications will be requiring higher starting torque, because the damper winding resistance is going to be higher, uh, and at the for those applications, the pull-in torque requirement will be somewhat lower. So for those kind of applications, the pull-in torque are going to be very low, as we can see in this particular diagram. So for these kind of applications, these kind of high resistance damping high damping resistance can be used. So the third will be the slip ring induction motor. So using the slip ring induction motor, we can start the synchronous motor. So by coupling the coupling the rotor of the synchronous motor with the rotor of the particular slip ring induction motor, and the slip rings are going to be connected with the starting resistances. So at the time of starting, the supply will be given for both of the stators of the synchronous motor and the slip ring induction motor. Since the stator and the rotor will be having the same amount of poles, the particular supply which is given to this particular stator will be inducing some of the EMFs in the rotors, and those rotors will be supplying currents to this particular resistances. So at the starting time, the resistances will be adjusted so that the starting torque should be higher. So after attaining some speed along the particular line, the slip rings are going to be disconnected. So the starting resistances are going to be lesser and lesser, and at last the starting resistances are made to zero. So at that time of making the starting resistances zero, the motor speed will be somewhat nearer to the synchronous speed. So at that time, if you are applying the DC supply to the rotor of the synchronous motor, then the rotor will be magnetically locked with this with the rotating magnetic field, so that the synchronous motor will be attaining the synchronous speed. So by this way, the high starting torque applications will be uh, will be supplied with these kind of synchronous motors driving with the slip ring induction motor. Now the last method is going to be using the small DC motor for driving the synchronous machine. So the synchronous machine is being coupled with a small DC machine. So the power of the DC machine can be somewhat lesser because the DC machine will be designed or can be picked up that the speed of the DC machine, the rated speed of the DC machine is equivalent to the rated speed of or the synchronous speed of the synchronous motor. So by that way, the excitation of the rotor, the supply which is going to be given for the excitation for the rotor can be used for driving the DC machine also. Once the motor gets started, it is running at a rated speed. The synchronous motor will also be running at synchronous speed. So at the time when we are switching on the rotor power supply, then that particular three-phase synchronous motor will be working in a synchronous speed, so that the starting of the synchronous motor can be achieved. So using the same DC power supply for both the DC motor and the DC rotor supply will be beneficial for the small type of systems. Now we are going to see about the advantages and disadvantages of the various methods we have discussed in this particular video. First, we are going to see about pony motors and the DC motors. Before going into these details, first we have to know that the particular slip ring induction motor method of starting the synchronous motor is the only method that is going to be applied for loaded synchronous machine starting. That is, if you are having any of the applications where the synchronous motor load is going to be persist forever, then that particular type of application can be driven only with the help of slip ring induction motor. The other applications are going to be drive or start the synchronous machine only in no load or in the light load conditions. So keeping that mind, we will be going to discuss about the advantages and the disadvantages of the different starting methods of the synchronous machine. So the first, whenever we are using the pony motors and the DC motors, the advantages is going to be a simple mechanical coupling, and these kind of arrangements can be only applicable for the small motors, especially less than the 5 kilowatt synchronous machines. So the main disadvantages are going to be these methods are only going to be applied for no load and the light load conditions. So these kind of applications are normally used in the compressors. The second disadvantage is going to be the rating of the pony motor or the DC motor should be equal to the rating of the synchronous machine that is to be used. So whenever we are using the particular DC or the pony motor, the rating should be equivalent to the synchronous machine, means that will be giving very much cost when for the starting of the machine itself. So this is going to be a costlier method, and also it will be giving another consequent disadvantage of high power consumption. The second method is going to be the damper winding method. The main advantages of the damper windings are going to be there very easy in construction, because only the drilling and the shorting of the copper bars inside the machine. So the construction of the damper winding is going to be very easy, and they are robust in nature also, because whatever may be the speed of the machine, the damper windings are going to be very robust, and they cannot be damaged at any cost. So they are going to be robust, and they are low cost also comparing to the other methods of the starting. And it improves the machine stability, because the damper windings are going to be used to quenching the oscillations in the synchronous machine, and also it will be avoiding the loss of the synchronism. So it improves the machine stability. That is going to be a greater advantage of the damper winding. uh, Using this advantage, the synchronous machine can be controlled as an induction machine also. So that is going to be a very big advantage of applying the synchronous machine to the industrial purposes. And also the losses are also low, because since we are not going to be use any external machines to drive the synchronous machine, the losses are going to be very low. But there is a disadvantage of using this damper winding method. This particular method is going to be used for the machines which are going to be started at the no load and the light load conditions. So you cannot use the damper winding method for the persisting persisting load at the starting time. The last is going to be starting of the synchronous machine using the slip ring induction machine. The main advantage of using the slip ring induction machine for the starting of the synchronous machine is going to be its high starting torque. So using this particular character of this particular arrangement, we can use this kind of methods for the punching machines and the punching metals. We can use this kind of method. And also the another disadvantage is going to be, this method is going to be applied to the machine which are in the loading condition. The main disadvantage of using the slip ring induction machine is going to be its external resistance. The losses in the external resistance are going to be high when comparing to the normal squirrel cage induction motor. So the losses are going to be high when comparing to the other machines. And also the maintenance cost is also more, because the external resistances are going to be cleaned uh, whenever the time goes on. So the maintenance cost is going to be more comparing to the other machine maintenances. Thank you.